Frozen Fury, a creepypasta by the Epic 100. The Academy Award-winning film Frozen from Disney Animation Studios that premiered in theaters in 2013 is not what you may believe it to be. Frozen centers around a fantastical story on princesses, princes, animals, and love, both lost and found. There are all common themes of Disney movie magic, as is a common theme with classic Disney film. There are many different rumors and theories that follow the film around. A personal favorite of mine is towards the beginning of the film. Anna, the princess who the film centers around, is killed by Elsa's ice abilities. Trolls resurrect her, but as a decaying, undead creature. Who's leading the song, "Do You Want to Build a Snowman?" to be far more malicious. Anna asks to be let into the room with Elsa, begging and pleading for years. She even resorts to killing her parents, knowing Elsa can only sit in her room, listen, and cry. This is one of my favorite theories. However, it loses its credibility. The movie continues on. Elsa and Anna meet again during Elsa's coronation. Anna continues on her journey to save the town of Arendelle. Have to come to a new conclusion. It may not include zombies and hidden conspiracies, but it is the truth. The previous theory was close with its exceptions, but Anna never died at the beginning of the film when her and her sister were playing. Elsa never even had the magic powers that the movie would lead us to believe. Anna came to Elsa in the middle of the night and asked her to play in the snow. Like little girls do, they break the rules and go outside together. Unfortunately, Anna falls unconscious when climbing one of the dunes of snow outside her home in beautiful frozen Arendelle. Anna's mind piecing together what makes sense for her as a small child. Saw her parents take her to Trolls instead of a hospital. The doctor told her parents to keep Anna's condition a secret from her, and let her enjoy her life as it is, and without worry. In truth, however, the doctor had explained to her parents that Anna had a brain tumor. Given the current time period, there's little that could be done, and so their only option was to wait until the inevitable would take place. Anna would never know, but Elsa, the older sister, understood and blamed herself for the tumor's discovery. As Anna grew older and the movie progresses, Elsa distanced herself from her sister and feared that anything she could do could only make things worse. That was until she was forced to come out of her room, her coronation as Queen of Arendelle. During the ceremony, Elsa is constantly telling herself to conceal and not feel the guilt she has when seeing her sister. The tumor finally began to put pressure on Anna's brain, warping her perceptions of reality. These warped perceptions cause her to fall in love with a man she meets moments before seeing the magic that we, as an audience, are able to see. Realizing her sister's condition is becoming worse, Elsa flees the kingdom. She is unable to cope with the reality before her. At this point, the snow begins to fall, freezing Arendelle and Anna's mind. But in reality, the snow is simply a fuzz that began to cloud Anna's mind. Anna sets out after her sister, while Hans stayed to guard the kingdom. Hans, in an act of love and sympathy for his new fiancée, agrees and begins to care for the people in the absence of their government figures. Anna, in search of her sister, comes across Kristoff. Seeing the girl's poor condition, he aids her in her search. They discover Elsa hiding on top of the mountain, away from everyone. Unfortunately, the exertion and the tumor combined, causing her to collapse into a coma before her sister. For the rest of the film, we view Anna's dreams while in her coma, fulfilling what she believes to be the next logical steps to her delusions. All the while, her snowstorm grows thicker and thicker. Finally, as a form of understanding, she starts to see her condition as a magical wand that consumes her heart. Anna's body feeds signals into her coma, induced mind forcing her to feel colder as the end becomes closer. Outside of her coma, Kristoff helps Elsa and Anna back to the kingdom. Elsa relieves Hans of his responsibility, but leaves him grief-stricken and heartbroken at the state of his fiancée. Unfortunately, however, Anna would never know it. The three, now brought together as a friends are forced to watch on as Anna slowly passes away. In the end, Anna sees herself turn to solid ice, clearing the snowstorm and giving her moments clarity. She sees her sister in tears. Hans in awe and Kristoff still run to her side to aid her. Just as they are by her bedside, unfortunately she's freed from her perceived to be ice-like form and sees the sun rise. This symbolizes what we have come to call a light at the end of the tunnel, or what is known as electrical pulses behind her closed eyes, signifying brain death. This is not entirely as depressing as you would think. A good part to this story is that she still sees her happy ending and gets everything she asked for. That is still what we always want out of a Disney movie. Even if it's the reality that Anna left behind is now filled with grief and the constant question, what now? So that was The Frozen Theory, a creepypasta by the Epic 100. My final thoughts? Well, it's a pretty interesting story, even for the theory type of story, but it's actually pretty good, but the only thing I just kind of found a flaw is about the whole coma, the whole brain tumor thing that has to be devolved. And what about Olaf? Where the heck is Olaf? Is Olaf just a imaginary creature or something in this theory? That just felt odd, and also that last part is actually pretty depressing, like I think it's actually a little more darker than the one in the actual film, which I kind of felt because Deus Ex Machina, Elsa just trying to freaking unfreeze Anna, and that the meaning of true love and friendship and sisters and family and such, blah blah blah. But overall, it's actually a pretty good story, even if it has some flaws, about the tumor part of the story and in the coma and the coma stuff, I'm just thinking about doing that. Thinking about next week, I'll think about doing the ashes coma theory reading on next week. So yeah, guys, hope you have a pretty good day and have a good night. Bye bye.